He has got so many RSL points right now.
He's definitely going to be very highly ranked in Season 6 rankings, and even with other players being invited, he's going to be able to show himself well. As you said, 3-2 versus Snooty's feeling great. He's on top of his game, and I'm excited to see him in WCS, or whatever we call it now. I'm excited to see him in the WCS circuit and playing his best. Here we are in the possible final game of the best of 5. In the bottom right-hand corner, it is the green Protoss player representing Psystorm Gaming. It's PiLiPiLi.
And his opponent spawning in the top left. It is our red Zerg from Team Ascension. It is Voltz.
This is the map where maybe I'd opt for some early pool and then taking the gold base off the back of it, but it's just so easy for Protoss to punish you for just about anything you can do on this map with a couple of adepts. And it's not that you can't kill them, it's just that they act a little bit like roaches. They can get in your mineral line and they can survive for 10 to 15 seconds before they die and take you out with them.
Yeah, and I've actually seen players do pylon rushes at those gold base naturals as well, and those can be pretty devastating. So there's a lot Protoss can do to punish. A lot of people will say, oh, it's the Zerg favored map, but there is some really mean stuff that Protoss can do to punish those gold bases that have been taken.
Looks like PiLiPiLi will be going Nexus first, or technically Gaiden into Nexus, but nothing too crazy out of him. And PiLiPiLi just has the standard down so dang well. He's fine, he knows how to react, and he knows what he's going to do, but we see not the standard from Voltz. Voltz saying, you know what? I'm going to go 3-hatch pool, and you're not going to touch me, and you're not going to figure it out. And I guess for PiLiPiLi, you know what the ultimate mind game is if Voltz then takes his natural, and so it looks like it looks greedy, but not quite as greedy as it truly is. Then like cancels his natural, and then just drones.
That would be so clever, but I think PiLiPiLi, I think he's going to realize, you know, what's going on, that those bases have been taken at the gold. It wouldn't surprise me to see him scout in that direction soon. Pili now looking at that spawning pool, sees the characteristic, you know, timing of a 3-hatch before pool with that, and probably realizes where that third base has been taken.
Yeah, there he's
scouted there. Now he knows for sure.
Voltz will be able to get a decent influx in the early game economy. Thankfully for him, we did not see an early 2-gate, which sometimes you can see from Protoss players. PiLiPiLi does not do that at all. Quick pause for PiLiPiLi, whatever is up, but hopefully he'll be able to 600 ping. That is intense.
That's pretty.
That is intense, man. I thought he was gonna. Yeah, Voltz. I thought he was gonna be like, I'm at 100 ping. I can't play. I have no lag at all in game, by the way, so I don't.
Yeah, I don't have that problem either. So it's probably up on Pili's end. Sometimes it goes up to 1,000 ping. Wow.
PiLiPiLi is fine, man. He doesn't need. Well, I don't know what the opposite. He doesn't need. What would you call it with? He didn't have ping. He doesn't need 0 ping to win. He can win with 1,000 ping. He's down. I don't know what to call it.
You could just like go charge laps and throw him over.
Yeah, man. It works. Just go mass Colossus. Be like, psych, my game. You didn't expect that, did you? I'm waiting for that in some huge tournament final, and they just go mass Colossus, and there's just no anti-air. And they're like, wait a second. Unless they're going Broodlords, then you're fine.
Looks like we are going to have an adept scout / poke here coming out from Pili. Now it looks like the lag is improved on his end as well.
Only one early adept this time. The second adept is going to be slightly stuttered for PiLiPiLi, but should be able to get damage done. And honestly, you're going to have to pull drones to deal with this. 8 lings are coming out, and they may be able to deal with a single adept. He's moving it alone. Another adept will reinforce relatively shortly. And for now, actually, it's going to get not that much damage done. PiLiPiLi not being too cocky, but just not opening quite the proper way he would want versus this. He didn't expect this amount of greed.
Yeah, and the Lings now, they will get us around. Will they kill that adept in time? I think it did die. It's so hard to tell, though. It's like last second. It did die. Okay. So the Robo now is the follow-up tech of choice here from PiLiPiLi. It is just now finishing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Warp Prism come out, and there it is. That Warp Prism is coming out of that first. Lings, though, moving across the map. However, with the pylon there in the wall for PiLiPiLi, they probably won't be able to get much done. Yeah, the overcharge goes out. Does manage to push some of those Lings away. Speed, however, though, just has finished for Voltz.
So normally I'm imagining this is going to be, of course, a disruptor play, but on the other end, I wonder if we're going to see Warp Prism speed and Adept pushes from that, because it's a little bit unorthodox to get the disruptors this early.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets speed and goes for some drops, just a big series of drops.
That is definitely possible. Warp Prism speed has been used now a little bit more in LOTV, with the Warp Prism being a little bit more powerful. You do have more gateways on the way. That Robo Bay is finishing very soon. I can't wait to see if that's what it is, but it is actually a disruptor that will be coming out of the Robo.
Which is completely fine. Normally you would see the third Nexus being taken about the same time with that ability.
There is the Warp Prism speed as well, so it is both, actually.
It's a funny situation where if PiLiPiLi takes a third, he gives Voltz too much time to get an economy, and so he can't do that. He has to do two-base play.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a disruptor out for sure. It's going to be a second disruptor. I'm wondering maybe if it's even going to be disruptor drop, or if it's going to be just some disruptor play, disruptors with his main army.
He may just pull a couple stalkers back at home, and the reason I could go for disruptor drop, Adepts are just so much better at the drop, and yeah. I think overall, really with the disruptors, they just need something to help them out. They do great amount of damage, but they can't fight alone. They need a couple stalkers, so he may just pull a couple stalkers back at home and push out. But potentially, Voltz has the opportunity to simply overwhelm him. The income, Voltz is less income than PiLiPiLi, but if Voltz gets to drone a little, he can equalize it up very easily. And as I was mentioning, PiLiPiLi can't really expand because that gives Voltz too much time to get his economy together. But here's the disruptor drops.
Those Warp Prisms are so fast. Seeing that Warp Prism in action now as it's been upgraded is insane.
It literally, my camera can't quite keep up with it following it. It's like just barely keep up with it. Nice disruptor shots take out 3 to 4 Ravagers, and that's no good at all. And maybe it's not even going to be disruptor drops. It's just, hey, every second I'm not disrupting is technically a disruptor not used well. So I'm gonna get every second, get all the worth.
Yeah, and with that speedy Warp Prism, that's like disruptors moving at that speed almost. It is insane.
Nice, another disruptor. It's more Ravagers, and at this point I think maybe it's wise for Voltz to drone up a little off the back of this, but here he is moving out, and they are quite equal on economy, even though it's different amount of workers. We'll see how PiLiPiLi defends. Lots of Lings are getting ready for the 71 of supply of Voltz to the 58 of PiLiPiLi defending Protoss, and we'll see disruptors move out, and they may be able to clean up the Ravagers, but one of them only takes out 2 Ravagers in the end. They a little bit whiff it. All the disruptors are gone, and the corrosive vials completely smashed through PiLiPiLi. This may be exactly what Voltz needed to do, but 2 more disruptors are coming in off the back. But this looks like Voltz is going to pull back. He does not want to fight into an overcharge, and I'd just say drone up a little bit off the back of that. You can keep up your pressure, but you got to be careful not to overcommit into that area.
Yeah, I think Voltz thought he was looking pretty good after that attack. However, there was that Warp Prism behind this that still had some disruptors and did manage to still take out a good chunk of that army that Voltz had left over.
PiLiPiLi pushes off the back of that, and by the way, there's an observer right on top of the entire army of entire army of Voltz at the moment, and it can see exactly what's going down. Lots of reinforcement. Voltz is not droning at all, and the disruptor shot is going to be huge. Takes out a decent amount of Ravagers. Only 2 Ravagers left, and those are what really did the damage in the previous games. Another disruptor shot managed to pick up a Ravager, and PiLiPiLi, hey, he don't care if you push him back into his base. He's going to keep fighting. 8 more Stalkers on the way, and yes, there's some Ravagers. Yes, there's some Lings coming, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. And got to be some phenomenal micro here. It's happening, but it's not the bulk army of Voltz. He's got to regroup up to be able to fight this, but each time he splits himself off a little bit too much.
Yeah, and now things are looking pretty scary here for Voltz. He is trying to get more Ravagers here. He is getting some Spines as well, but some of these disruptor shots. Takes out some more Ravagers, takes out some Queens as well. And so many Adepts behind this Stalkers. They are just cleaning up the rest of this army. And PiLi just marches forward here. Uh,
PiLiPiLi moving in to finish the game. A couple corrosive biles go off again and won't even be able to kill the Warp Prism. He's going to be able to take this series 3-0 and become the 5-time champion, the 4-time champion of the RSL Weekly.
yeah, Voltz is just very low on army here. There is not much more he can do. Pili just warping in reinforcements after reinforcements.
In the end, PiLiPiLi, honestly, Voltz, even though he had the gold, was only matching PiLiPiLi in income. And when you're matching your opponent, your Protoss opponent, in that way, it's never going to work well for you. You need a little bit more base, a little bit more income. And now Voltz is going to meet Grander, does not want to give up.
GG.
GG. I had to read what Voltz said right there. So, looks like PiLiPiLi goes 3-0 in week 5 of the RSL Weekly.
Yeah, GG well played to our first place winner, PiLiPiLi, and GG well played to our second place winner as well. That is Voltz. Both players will win cash with that. First place $20, second place $5. PiLiPiLi does earn 500 RSL points. Voltz gets 300 RSL points. Still pretty good.
So quite good. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been the RSL Weekly. We saw Voltz come in second. PiLiPiLi, of course, is first. Anything you want to say before we do our final shout-outs, Koshkii?
Yes, thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Do remember that we have a Patreon now set up, so if you'd like to support us, I will link it again here in chat very quick. We'd really appreciate it. That would help keep this going. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much, guys, for all of you tuning in. Please check out our observer and streamer, our everything. That is Feardragon, Feardragon64. He's in the bottom right-hand corner of the stream anyways. Check that guy out. He's there. Nope, the other way. He's down there. You should check him out in the bottom. I don't know, bottom right-hand corner for you guys. I don't know if it's flipped. I don't know any of stuff. But please check us out. I really appreciate it. Check out @KoshkiiSC on Twitter to learn more. She streams every single day, pretty much. There's a lot of streaming. She's a Protoss player and Masters. A very good person to learn from.
Aw, thank you, DrennoC.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see, I guess, in week 6 for the RSL Weekly. Shout out to Kaboosh and Hawkeye for putting this all on and getting it together. See you next time for some more StarCraft 2 action, and of course, PiLiPiLi winning again.